Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. This is just a little training ride with our PAA Endurance Team. Our endurance team is typically in the mountains doing longer rides with a lot of climbing, and my wife and I decided to join them with another one of our teammates, Ashley, just to get some training in. We're still 2 months away from like the first race, but it's about time to just start doing a little bit harder efforts. I was supposed to be doing 3 by 15 sweet spot today, and I decided to join the ride and just do a little effort on this first 30 minutes. And then I did my second interval on the backside of GMR, just the last interval, 15 minutes. So this is Azusa Highway or Highway 39 or Azusa Canyon, people refer to it as. It's basically about an 8 mile climb that averages about 4%, 4 or 5%. It's pretty windy today and it's cold. You can see up in the top left, it's only 50 degrees and there's a pretty stiff wind coming through the canyon here. I try to control my effort basically and just give a little bit of a threshold effort mixed in with some sweet spot and try not to go too far below sweet spot, mainly tempo and sweet spot. So being that the effort's a little bit longer, I just kind of combined two efforts and did a 30-minute effort basically here, and then a little bit of recovery in between, and then the last interval on the backside of GMR. And I only get about, I don't know why, I only got about 30 minutes of record time today, even though the battery was full, just didn't last at all. So basically I go to the front here and just put in a good effort to keep the momentum up. As you can see, the road's pretty steep here. It goes between 6 and 8%, like at this beginning part of the mountain, and then it's gonna flatten out. It's gonna flatten out after about like 8 or 10 minute, yeah, or maybe 8 minutes, 10 minutes, and then it flattens out for a little while. I'll give you a little relief, and then starts climbing again.
I will when that sun hits me.
This is Russell right here on the left going by me. Russell and I pretty much just keep the pace kind of going, and we kind of separated from the group. There's two more in our group that's out in front, and we eventually catch them and jump on. Russell's pretty good, pretty good climber. Hopefully, him and I will get some time trial events in later this year. But Russell comes out and basically almost drops me. You can see I'm doing a decent amount of watts. Like I said, I have a low FTP, so for me, this is I'm in VO2 already with this type of effort. But I mean, I can, do it for a pretty good, decent amount of time, but it's still above my threshold at that point. I'm about threshold right now. But yeah, Russell puts in a little dig here and almost drops me, and then have to put in some effort to catch back on. But for the most part, I'm just trying to keep it nice and steady, and just enjoying this beautiful road. Is one of my favorite routes as well. Just love kind of being out there in the mountains and the canyon. If you look at Russell's cadence too, he has a nice good cadence going on there. Probably somewhere around 80 or so, maybe a little higher. As you can see, I'm about the same way. Climbing at 6% at 270 watts or so, and yeah, it's just important to keep your momentum when you're doing these types of climbs. Letting your momentum die is what really taxes your legs, and you have to put in like another hard effort to get your speed back up. And honestly, we're not actually going that fast either. It was a hard effort, just because I haven't been doing any efforts. I think we did this segment in about 34 minutes, and I was dying. I mean, it felt like a hard effort to me, but my fastest, we were 5 minutes off my PR, so it's not the same as like going at race pace or anything, but it was definitely still a hard effort. If you can see in my stats, my heart rate is missing. Don't know why. I use the Element watch, like the Wahoo. I I can't even think of the name of the watch, but it's basically like their multi-sport watch, first specialized in like triathlons. But for whatever reason, my heart rate would not connect, so I'm kind of going without heart rate today. So here's the other two that we catch. I know Jeremiah is one of the two that we catch, and I can't remember who else was with them. But yeah, they had dropped me. I mean, Russell had dropped me for a second here, and then he just to recover, he just sat on their wheel for a little bit, and I just joined too. Instead of trying to go by, we just joined, try to recover a little bit, and then Russell and I will pick up the pace again in a second. So when you're doing like longer climbs like this, which is pretty long climb, like I said, it's over for me today. It was over a 30-minute effort, and it's important to kind of know the road. If you get a chance, scout it out. But it's important to know the road, to know like where you need to go hard and where your recovery is going to come from. So like on this road, like the beginning, like I said, is maybe like, I don't know, 10 minutes of an effort, 8 to 10 minute effort, and then you're going to get like a 2 or 3 minute recovery with the kind of going flat and a little bit of downhill, which is funny because we're climbing and everyone thinks it's like straight up and straight down, but this has a little bit of a couple downhills in the middle of the climb. So when you're climbing, you get some fast sections, and then when you're coming downhill, you kind of want to rest and you think it's going to be downhill the whole way, and it's mixed with a couple climbs on the way down. Thank God for that sun. As you can see, it's 50 degrees, but it makes a big difference from when you're directly in the sun to where, or if you're in the shade. In the shade, it was like literally freezing with the wind chill. I have no clue what the actual wind chill was or anything, but with the sun, it warmed you up pretty nice and felt pretty good on the climb. So this is where I kind of want to settle in at. Kind of want to settle in somewhere between 200 and 230 watts. Just try to keep it there for the rest of the segment. But yeah, it's hard. I mean, especially with the pace Russell's setting. Like I said, we're not going like race pace, but it was hard. I don't know why. I don't know if it's cold. I don't know if it's just because I'm out of shape and haven't been doing too many hard efforts. But yeah, for me, and I'm not a climber. I'm not a climber to begin with. But to me, it was a pretty hard effort, even though our time wasn't really that fast. Yeah, Russell's starting to gap me a little bit here. And it's funny too because I wasn't sure like how hard he was going, so I always left a little bit in reserve as well. I didn't know if I was gonna need to, you know, make any accelerations or anything, or if we were just gonna ride kind of steady pace the whole way. And I'm not exactly sure. I should have asked him, but I don't know what Russell has on his back. It kind of looks like a backpack a little bit, but I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's a camelback or something. But I don't. Yeah, maybe I should have asked him what he has on his back. But anyway, I definitely thank him for his efforts. You know, later in the day we have this segment called the Wall, and it's a pretty steep. Well, you know, obviously called the Wall. It's a pretty steep little hill, but it's super short. It's only maybe a tenth to 2/10 of a mile. And, you know, Russell was kind enough to lead me out going up that little climb section. And, you know, I finally PR'd it. It's kind of hard because, like, I don't do Montrose that much, and Montrose does that hill every Saturday. So when you're on the Montrose ride and you got the benefit of being in a big group and carrying like high speed, it's easy to get that PR, whatever the case it is, just going with the group. And I'm always solo. Even if I do Montrose, that's on Montrose Long. And I'm usually dropped like on the previous climb before that, like in Valley Center. And so it's kind of hard just making it to that spot with the front group, especially if you're not ready to hit those hard, punchy climbs, with some of the guys that's out there, some of the faster guys that do Montrose every weekend. So anyway, Russell was definitely, fun to ride with and a good sport on just like working for you and things like that. It's going to be fun if we ever get out to do some of the team time trials together. So, so here's what I was talking about. Like, you do the climbing and you get these little faster sections that give you a little break and you can recover here. The only problem is we were still pushing a little bit of pace. So, you know, once it gets down like it is now on the downhill, you definitely can recover. Yeah, so it's funny that you're still in the uphill section of the mountain and you're, doing over 24 miles per hour on a slight downhill, and then the mountain basically creeps up again. I think we climbed almost 4,000 feet today. Just only about a 30 miles total, but 4,000 feet. Russell's trying to drop me again here, so I just stay steady though. No real hard efforts. Just kind of stay steady and slowly, draw it back. He might be waiting a little bit for me too, or trying to recover as well. But yeah, I'm just trying to do a steady effort the entire way. Like I said, I wanted to do about 200 to 230 watts, but sometimes the road just gets steep, and no matter what, you have to put a little bit of power down just to keep your momentum to make it up the hill. Yeah, so basically these last 8 weeks, probably start doing some harder efforts just to get in shape a little bit, and so I only do like basically two hard rides a week, and I wouldn't even say hard; they're just some with a little bit of efforts. Two interval sessions that are a little bit harder, and then the rest of the week, which I basically ride 6 days a week. The rest of the week are more endurance type rides, endurance and recovery rides, mainly endurance. And then every third or fourth week, and then I then take a recovery week, which I basically still ride. I still ride the same amount of time, sometimes one day less, but basically all the rides become endurance or recovery, and just leave the intensity out for a week and then get back to the training after that. And for the next 8 weeks, I'll probably do at least one climbing day every week, just as I, start ramping up the training a little bit. All right, so here's another really fast downhill section. This is about the halfway point of the climb. And this is where you can definitely pick up a lot of speed and recover. Take a lot of time to recover. I shouldn't say a lot of time because it's really only like 1 minute of recovery, if that even. But it just gives you a chance to catch your breath, buffer some of that lactate in your legs, and then get back to another, 8 minute climb or so. Probably 8 to 10 minute climbs with like 1 to 2 minutes of downhill in between. I think I'm a lot heavier than Russell also. So for me on the downhill, it's a little easier for me to get my momentum up and kind of hold it. And thank God for that, because it allows me to catch back up to him. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Russell can outclimb me if he wanted to. Anytime that it gets into a sustained climb, like anything longer than, I don't know, maybe even half a mile, like, yeah, I'm no good at it at all. Even half a mile is pretty long, but anything longer than that, I'm definitely not gonna be one of the better climbers. Yeah, this is pretty good section here for as far as recovery. It's pretty long. You can see we're almost at 30 miles per hour here. This road is usually pretty busy. I think we had it good today for whatever reason, probably because it's the holidays. But there weren't any cars. Well, there's cars, but not as much as usual. If you look over to our right, there's a dam, or three dams actually in there, and they're kind of, when they're cleaned out or dried out, they use it as off-road vehicles to go in there and race and do different difficult climbs and truck pulls, tractor pulls, whatever they're doing in there. But anything you do off-road vehicles, it's basically in there. And yeah, so usually there's a lot of vehicle traffic coming up here to get to the OHV. But like I said, probably because of Thanksgiving, there wasn't hardly any vehicles up here, and there's a lot of camping and stuff up here also. But there were hardly any vehicles today. Makes it nice, you don't have to worry so much about getting hit by a car. As you can see, there's really no shoulder to the road. So yeah, one of our other, well, basically we're just trying to get the race team together. So still recruiting new members and stuff like that. And it's kind of exciting to see how it's coming together. The plan is to expand the representation of our race team this year and move out to some other disciplines, hit more time trials, do a little bit of traveling, hit a couple more road races. And I think we're going to try to start off over at Valley of the Sun this year and just get a little some stage racing in too. So a lot of people don't really like racing the crits. They'd rather do road races and longer stage type races and stuff. So to make that happen, we got to travel a little bit. Got to go up north. Got to not miss the opportunities when they present themselves, because in Southern California, there's not hardly any road races. I mean, we got a couple kind of short circuit races with Rosina Ranch. Day 2 of Marietta is a decent, circuit race. It's about 49, 50 miles. Other than that, like most of the road races, I'm sorry. The UCLA road race is a nice race, and it's kind of like a circuit as well. It's on like a 12-mile lap, and you just do two to four laps of it, depending on what category you're in. But that one's pretty good. It starts at 4,000 feet elevation, and it's pretty steep climbing. It's always cold also up there, but yeah, there's not too many road races in Southern California. It's just hard to get permits and block off all the roads without, disrupting people's normal daily activities. So there's a lot more like open land up north, up in Northern California. So we plan on hitting some of those and just doing some road races up north, and maybe some in Arizona this year. Maybe even I don't know if it's called Tour de Tucson or Tucson Stage Races, Tucson Classic. We might do Valley of the Sun and Tucson. I just think there might be back-to-back weeks. I can't remember if they're back-to-back or a couple weeks apart from each other. But yeah, it's always exciting. When you start thinking about racing, starting to do some harder efforts to try to get your fitness back. Some people just do hard efforts all year round. That's not my approach. I let my fitness drop a lot. I still ride, but I just started doing endurance rides in the off season. Start strength training, cross training a little bit, and then probably next year I'll probably start doing some triathlons also. Yeah, I don't really care about like necessarily what place I come in the triathlon. I just want to be able to get to a point where I can complete them. So yeah, for me, the off season, I detrain purposely, take a couple weeks off, and then just start doing some endurance training, strength training, stuff like that. Play a little golf, have a little fun, and then as it gets closer to season, I start moving my priority back to the bike. I'm not going to stop lifting though this year. All the other years, like if the season's in, I don't lift during season. But this year I'm going to keep at least one day a week on the legs, and probably at least one day a week on the upper body as well. Unfortunately, my upper body grows a lot faster than my lower body. So that's why I can't climb. One of the reasons why I can't climb, I just carry too much upper body weight with the little stick legs. So as you can see in the shadow, Russell's just right there on my wheel the whole time, which is good. He pulled me up the first half, and I had to oblige and do my work here too. And I'm just trying to hold it steady, like I said, 200 to 230. I know that's a pretty big range, but I don't want to. We have a lot of more riding to do, and the second section of this road is a lot steeper than this one. So yeah, I've got to keep a little in reserve as well, just to get through the rest of the ride. And like I said, it's a pretty short ride for 4,000 feet of climbing, or 3,600, whatever we had. I don't know what it is, but yeah. So just keeping a steady effort, steady cadence. I want my cadence above 70. Don't want to get bogged down too much. 70 is pretty slow for me to begin with, but you run out of gears at one point. I can't spin any faster without doing too many watts and blowing up. So, I'll keep it above 70 and just keep a steady pace. Yeah, and the shadows here too, you see it's down to 48 degrees. Obviously, as we get higher in the mountain, it's going to get colder. But yeah, in the shadows, it was freezing in the shadows. And I don't like wearing long gloves. So, sometimes you have to, but, I have short fingered gloves on, so my hands are getting a little numb as well. The rest of my body was bundled up pretty good. But yeah, I just hate wearing long finger gloves. I don't like the feel of it. I don't like to not be able to feel my brakes and different things like that. But at the same time, when it gets too cold, you go numb and you don't feel anything anyway. So yeah, I got to find me some good long fingered gloves that are not too bulky. Still allow you to use your computer and your phone or whatever if you need to, and that keeps you a little bit warm. So it might be a big ask, but yeah, if you know of any, yeah, throw them in the comments and maybe I'll check them out. But I definitely need some better long fingered gloves. The only ones I have that I like a little bit are my mountain bike gloves, but they don't really match anything that I wear on the road bike. And, it may sound funny, but I'm a little bougie like that. I got to match a little bit. I don't just wear a lot of mixed match stuff on the bike. Like they say, if you want to be the part, you got to look the part. So that part I have down, I can look it and still just ride slow. So yeah, the video. I mean, we got a few minutes left in this video. We're almost done, like with the, a little bit steeper climbs. I know it's not that steep right now at 4%, but that's kind of like the average of this road. And there's a long, fast downhill section that I kind of like coming up here, and then it flattens out, and it's just a spot where you can carry a lot of speed and then keep your momentum all the way to the finish. But for whatever reason, I don't get any battery life today, and the camera just cuts off like maybe 30 minutes into the ride. The camera cut off, and I know the battery was 100% charged because I had charged it overnight. Saw it this morning when it was green, threw it in, and yeah, I don't even think it lasted 40 minutes today. So didn't end up getting this climb, the entire climb in, but Russell and I just basically switched back and forth, had a little fun, and as the speed picked up too, we just kind of tag teamed it all the way to the end, this segment, and then just waited for the rest of the group down there at East Fork, basically like on the turnout at Azusa and East Fork. So yeah, this is the climb is beautiful. The weather ended up being like pretty much perfect. I know it's only, like, I've been complaining about it being cold, but it was really only cold on this first part of the ride, just and mainly probably because of the wind chill. After that, I mean, the temperature never got above 60, I don't think, but it felt a lot warmer. And when you're climbing and giving hard efforts, your body warms up anyway. So
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it was just a good workout
Yeah,
section
blame me in the summer.
session. Nothing too
Always on
special.
the OHV
Like I said,
side.
I'm just gonna post like one video a week of my rides, and I don't like to stage stuff and like cut up highlights and make it look all good. I know that sounds stupid, but no, I like the raw aspects of cycling. I like to show it all. I like to hear the road, hear the wind. So that's why I throw out like the whole video. I know some people have asked me to like make them shorter and things like that, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I like to give the raw aspects of cycling and not the glamour aspects of cycling where everything looks good and people think you're a world tour pro because you edit your videos well. No, I like to just show exactly what I am, who I am, what I do. So just try to keep it transparent and hope that people fall in love with the process of the sport. It's definitely one of the best and hardest sports that I've ever done. And that's one of the reasons why I like it, just the personal challenge and the fact that I can fail at it and I'm not that good at it. I've been pretty much good in every other sport that I've ever played. So, yeah, this one is humbling and maybe I need to be humbled sometime. So, this is, I think, the next downhill part. And yeah, it gets pretty fun through here. Like, after climbing for a while, being really tired, your legs are burning, but you can really pick up a lot of speed on these next few sections. And, I love this part of the road. It's one of those road that's like, I don't know, this is like the sprinter's climb. you know, we have this one and we have another road that's just a couple miles away. That's Glendora Mountain Road that a lot of people like. And that's like for climbers. It's like it's just steady climbing and it's a longer climb, not because it's a longer road but because it's steeper, so it takes a lot longer over there than it does doing this side. But this side it has a lot of like, it's not that steep to begin with, and then the speed can be really high, and if you get a couple people out here working together, like you can fly up this mountain and it'll feel more like more like you're racing on the flats a little bit, just because you can big gear climb this the whole way if you want to. And if you have a few people working with you, you can really carry some good speed up here. Drafting each other and just working together. So yeah. Anyway, today I did in about 34 minutes with Russell and I. My PR is like 29 minutes, so I was still about 5 minutes off on this climb, but yeah, it's a fun climb, one of my favorites, and it's really good for training. Get your legs turning over for some speed and building some power. So yeah, that's basically the end of this video. So if you made it to the end, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week with another video. I know they're kind of boring sometime, but again, I like to show the raw aspects of cycling, and this is what I'm currently doing. So this is what you'll currently see. So anyway, until next time, thanks for watching.